Hello folks and welcome back. I'm Game Badger and this is Empyrion Galactic Survival. At the end of the last episode, we completed the Deserted Powers. That's the storyline for Skillen. And we also picked up, at the dying moments of the episode, a Tier 2 multi-tool, which is going to seriously speed up the task for this episode. The purpose of this episode is to see if we can't build a ship. We're going to use the factory to do it. The Paladin PT-01 cruiser, which is a capital ship. This is on my workshop, so if you want to see this thing in action in your own game or throw it into creative to play around with it, feel free to subscribe there and do what you do. And we need a lot of resources. Silicon, that's a reasonable amount. Neodymium, like I said, we need a lot of stuff. So what we're going to do is we're going to salvage what we can from where we can. Now we have a couple of base locations. Here we have the abandoned vessel yard, which we have yet to salvage. We also have somewhere over here, okay, we have the crashed DSE-2 mid, which will give us some stuff as well. And hopefully we'll find some other ships as well. Now we're going to start with the DSE because I'm kind of hoping we can pick up some stuff for the base. Still missing an armor locker, a food processor, and an oxygen tank. We finally got the med bay, so we're good there. So I'm kind of hoping we can pick up a couple of useful things from the wreck. Now let's see, do we have any? I don't actually have any. I was crafting some of these chaps before we left. There we go. Some cores. Now let's go and see what we can salvage. Okay, right. Now, there's a lot of potential resources here. So what I'm going to do, similar to what we did with the wreck before, I'm going to put down a core. Then we're going to use the drone to get inside and we're going to loot a box. If we can. There we go, there's a box there. Now we'll get up here so that we're physically connected to the wreck, and we'll use the building menu to connect and lay this box out of the way. There we go. It doesn't actually matter, we're not really going to use the box, we'll salvage this core. Then we put another core down on top of it. Then we're going to bring in the container extension, controllers. There we go. Assign this over to Hex, we'll kill the power. And in the device list, we want to name this container controller to the loot box to make it a little easier to find. And there we go, the loot box. And look how many cargo containers we have here. This is definitely gonna make it a little bit easier. Toss that over there for now. So we'll just take what we can from the loot boxes. Okay, we have what we need from the loot boxes. We've emptied the available ones, and as we can see here, we've room for 72,000 in weight. Time to start collecting some items. This also, let's let's identify. This is a handy trick for larger wrecks. You go into the device panel, you can select the device you're looking for, and you can have them show on the heads-up display. Makes finding them that little bit easier. Okay, a couple of medical stations. They will come in quite handy. And a combined total of 8 turrets. I don't have a drill, do I? I'm gonna need a drill. As you can see there, the medical stations are actually forward, but they're also below surface. Right. Well, what we'll do is we'll pick up what we can for now, because we need the oxygen, we need the armor locker, and if we go through here, we also need to pick up a food processor, so we can take those back to base. Everything else just going to become fodder. Grab these. Now, how much? We have some fuel. We also have some oxygen. We have a lot of oxygen, actually. Not too bad. That should have just gone straight into it. Did indeed go straight into the pickup. So much easier when you have the tier 2 multi-tool. One click, you're done. One click. The bigger items still take a few clicks, but most items, one click, off you go. Gravity generator, we'll have that. Thank you very much. Of those engines. A large piece of decor there. I think that's it for the big ticket items here for the moment. Oh no, we'll grab that. Now we want to collapse this whole thing in one go and scoop it up into our connected container. We need to break any links it has. There we go. That went a little easier than planned. This is the fastest way you can loot. When the gravity works in this and the physics engine works, but it doesn't always. It does most of the time, but when it does, it makes looting ships so much easier. All you really need to do is just knock it out the bottom layer. There you go, it's job done. Make sure you break any connections to other frameworks, and yeah, it's off you go. Fly around with the drone, press the interact button, scoop it up, and so long as you're connected to a large enough container, you will loot the lot. And that's why I bring the container extensions, the container controller, on a simple salvage operation. See in a moment just how much we're getting from this. I mean, you can see it tallying up in the top left. But yeah, this is gonna be nice. Very nice. Stuff does despawn relatively quickly, but there's usually enough time to get most of it. And that's just disappeared. Gone. Yeah, there used to be a ship here. Not anymore. Yeah, it's just, let's have a look. Reorder this. Now we've got some nice loot. We've got some nice modules to throw into the factory. But from that we've got 3 stacks of ore, so that's over 12,000 steel plates. That's not bad. I don't need the ammo box. I don't need the turrets or this here. This is all fuel for the fire. Fires of industry. Okay. That's right. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna use the Jaws model again, as we did when we were trying to bring in Shadow. We're just gonna go and put in a larger blueprint so that we can shove more materials than we would normally be allowed to do. And still that. Okay, maybe that thing just doesn't go. Fair enough. That just doesn't go. We'll bin that. Okay. Boxes. Don't need the O2 tanks. Don't need the constructors. All these engines. These engines are prime resource materials. Now we're going to drag the O2 station, the armor locker, and the food processor back to base. Some upgrades there. Now this isn't going to be an issue because we're going to get plenty of more iron before this is done. Plenty more. Right, now we also need to mine our way down to acquire the medical devices. So I'm going to toss these items in storage. I will take all the raw resources and useful things back. I don't need stairs. Okay, now, as I say, I need a drill, and hopefully, do we have what we need? Probably we do, actually. There's a very strong chance we'll be able to make a drill when we get base. And we can finish salvaging up this behemoth of resources. Okay, we're back. Now, can we do this? We can do a rocket launch. That's nice. We can indeed craft the drill. We throw the resources here in. What can we do? Can we do anything good? Okay, this is the wrong way around. Handle that. Okay, let's tie it up to the fridge and we should be able to do something with it. Okay, we can make a whole bunch of foods. Nice foods. We can make some meds as well. Not bad. We have our armor locker, so if we can actually find some armor to upgrade to, we'll be sitting pretty. And now we can just refill our oxygen straight from the base with the O2 station. Drill is complete. Do we have any? We do not have any ammo for the drill. Or did I put it in the shadow as a backup? That's entirely possible. There we go. Oh wow, I had a drill there. That's oh. Okay. It is what it is, I guess. Right. Our base is up and running. Now, let's just pump out some food. Cheese is interesting, but it's all with the grilled steak, and we have 147 meat, so we can make a fair amount of meat. Now let's head back and finish up our salvage op. Okay, and we're ready to go once more. Connect to the loot box. Pull this apart. Okay, here's something very useful as well. We're actually going to pick these blocks up as much as we can. Steel growing plots are very useful, and although I don't need them at the moment, there will be builds that will require them. So I'm just gonna, instead of trying to maintain them, instead of trying to remake them later, we're just going to salvage as many of these as we can, throw them straight into the factory, and that basically stores them for future blueprint builds. What I need them for at the moment. Now, as I said, here we go. The medical devices are down there, so we're going to have to drill. Okay, so that is how you level a ship to the ground. And let's have a look at what we've got. It should be a lot of base resources, well, basic resources. But still, we have there's another O2 station, some tech equipment, the large decorations, the antenna deco, that's all quite valuable. Now, we don't need the medical stations, but the ship we're spawning in does have medical stations, so that will help greatly with the build as well. Throw it all in. We're still using jaws at the moment. Mostly to make sure that we can get rid of the steel. Okay, now the last thing to do before we can leave this is to make sure we pick up the container controllers and our extensions so that we can use them for the next salvage job. Job done. And we've been burned by a bug. Sometimes when you set things to show on your HUD, it just doesn't stop. And I don't know if there's much we can do about that for the moment. Especially given we no longer have the medical devices. It's just one of those things, I'm afraid. Hopefully it's not going to be too problematic going forward. Okay, right. Now let's have a quick look at the Paladin and see how close we are, or how far away. Some pentaxid, that should be easy. Cerium required, cobalt still required, titanium, silicon, and neodymium. Okay, but we are down to a 1 second production time. So we're sitting relatively pretty. Now, the next best location for materials is the abandoned vessel yard itself. Now let's just pick up some food. Okay, here we go, and once more we're back at the abandoned vessel yard. We're going to restore the container controller system we previously set up here. Okay, and once more we're going to have to sign this in the devices. Here's all the previous loot. Heavy windows, you gotta love heavy windows. They have so much in it, some cerium, some silicon. They're a very, very prized item. And let's go, let's salvage some more. Again, that's all in the wrong loot box by the looks of it. Loot box, okay, of course, because I had the two. Right, rectify that. Other loot box, the one with plenty of space. Oh, that's much better. Now, unlike the wreck, the physics for this building, the last time I played the game, were actually non-existent. It's almost, I'd say 99.9% impossible to collapse this building. So it's just take what you can in block form and then move on. No mass collapse to be had here, unfortunately. Okay, we have a lot of resources, so let's see where we're at with the current build. I don't have anything to fire those missiles from, so we'll use those as well. Just looking good. Assault shotguns. Plenty of heavy windows, as well as armored windows. Take some Xeno steel. Blast doors, always good. Armored doors. That put us over the top on silicon straight off the bat. And Sathium. Okay, wow. So we need titanium rods, cobalt ingots, and neodymium. A fair amount of neodymium. But we're now struggling to feed resources in because so many things are actually now complete. So we're gonna go back to JAWS so that we can put in what we want to empty it all out. Okay, so that is pretty much everything we can get from here of real value. All we need now is 1,000 more neodymium ingots, which is only 500 neodymium ore. That should be achievable, and 130 odd cobalt with one raw pentaxid. Again, we can just pick that off the ground if we go to the right place. So all we need to do now is try and salvage as much of this as possible into the shadow. But this says 1697, so we have room for everything. Switch it over like this, just save myself the grief on the fridge. There we go. And the only question that remains is, can I pick this all back up again into the shadow? Looking a little heavy now. Let's give it a go. Okay, we are done with the abandoned vessel yard. So now we need to get rid of this weight for a start and see where we're at back at base. Okay, we're back in the room. Now let's unload. Let's quickly throw some extra lights up into the situation. And the other fun thing you can do here, and you select a group of items, you can apply one setting to the entire group all in one go. Very useful for things precisely like lights, and there we are. You can see. Okay. Now I was hoping we would actually spawn in the ship today. Now I can either run the episode long to do so, or I can cut out more than usual. Do I? Now, the neodymium can come from the ground. What I need at the moment is to see if there is enough cobalt that has been salvaged. If, it looks like there is. That's 324 cobalt. I don't need nearly that much. Need 100 and change. We'll just throw that in. So, 1,000, not quite 1,000 neodymium ingots required. That can be gained from mining. We really don't have much. To be honest, I'm not really seeing any neodymium there. We have actually gone past some neodymium, I believe. There we go. It's a small deposit. However, it's nearby. Let's go and dig it up, see how it goes. Okay, so that got us 174. We're about a third of the way to what we need. And that's... yeah, I think we might need all 3 neodymium. Now, we can check the list and see if we've got... that's the one we're at. Have we discovered all 3? Promethium, neodymium. Okay, we've discovered quite a lot of neodymium. Go to the nearest one. Hopefully this is not actually in Pirate Clan's territory. We're there now. Hopefully we'll pass out of it. Okay, we will. Okay, we're over halfway to our target of 500. Got a little bit there as well. Okay, so that is now full. Get rid of the stone. Start. Okay, back to base. Okay, so we're back at base and we're gonna see what we can do about unloading. Now we need one to put into the factory for the recipe. Rest we'll dump there. That's about enough for 700 and change. We've got a lot of raw pentaxid there, that's handy. Goes the one raw pentaxid. Right, now we're effectively at the end of the episode. Now, I'm going to continue to record and go and harvest the rest of these resources. And depending on how long that takes, I will just cut it out or fast forward it, depending which is the more efficient. But we should getting relatively close to being done here. I'd like to end this episode at some point, but doing so with a ship to show for it. And the two remaining neodymium are side by side. That's not too bad. Just set a quick target there, showing the HUD for the moment. Okay, so I'm going to go and I'm going to mine up this neodymium and see where that brings us to whilst this process is here. Okay, we're back at the base and we are hopefully dealing with the last of the neodymium. I've managed to generate, let's see, 690. That's not bad. So whatever's left here, definitely going to be enough to finish the task. Just need to get it processed. Okay, so we have 1210 neodymium, and we don't need quite that much, so we'll trim it off. 1050, job done. Drop that back in there, and we can now spawn in PT-01 Paladin. Start production. Production complete. The Paladin PT-01 cruiser. Ready to go. And there she is. Not the best spawn point. She'll come down in a moment. Should do. There we go. Feet deployed. Now let's take her over. Declare her for Hex. Declare a home spawn. Let's fill up some oxygen from the base resources. And let's fill up with as much fuel as we can as well. And there we go. The Paladin PT-1 cruiser. Let's have a quick look before we done. All the mod cons, plenty of storage, fridges, all of the medical facilities required. There's the bridge. Once when I made it, it was on the edge CPU, so I put those in as spare seats. and this is the cargo bay / hangar dock. And with that, we are done with this episode. So if you've made it this far, thank you very much for watching. If you'd like to see more, you could always subscribe, hit the like button. If you want notifications, do the bell thing. If you're interested in supporting the channel, I have a Patreon and a Buy Me a Coffee. The details are down in the description, as are my socials. And if you have any interest in the ships that I've built, I also have a link down in the description for my workshop, Steam workshop for Empyrion as well. So we now have a new ship, and in the next episode we'll be moving on to the next system in line so that we can begin the main storyline in earnest. So once again, thank you very much for watching, and take care. Enjoy the rest of your day. Bye now.